In this video, we're going to look at how we can improve the display of our website when our pages are shared on social media, and also when they are displayed in search engine results pages. There's a lot to cover in this lesson, so let's jump straight in by looking at the Open Graph protocol. Now, the Open Graph protocol, as it says here, enables any web page to become a rich object in a social graph. And what that basically means is that you can add some specific Open Graph meta tags to your pages to provide more information to social media sites about the content on that page. And rather than trying to explain that further, I think showing you an example will illustrate it better. So if we have a look here, you'll see this is quite a common post these days on a Facebook feed. And what this site is doing is using the Open Graph meta tags such as the image, title and description to provide, as I say, some more rich information about that page. So for example, the Open Graph image meta tag is telling the social media sites, this is the feature image I want you to use when this URL is shared on your site. And then they've done the same for the title and the description. There are plenty of other Open Graph meta tags, and we might touch on a few if we've got time, but let's jump straight in and have a look at the basic metadata that you can provide for your pages. And to start with, we'll obviously want to add a title to our page. So we'll copy the Open Graph title meta tag there and go to RapidWeaver and look at adding these Open Graph meta tags to our home page. So let's go to Edit Mode, open the Page Inspector and go to the Meta Tags tab. And here we'll want to add some meta tags into this box. So we click the plus button. In the name field, you'll want to add the OG title, and in the content field, we want to enter the title that we want to be displayed on social media sites. So I think we could just copy this header text here and say, Unbelievable Coffee is an amazing coffee shop in Brighton. This is now the title that will be used when our homepage is shared on social media sites. One thing you need to remember to do is customize the template here, because although this is a meta tag, it doesn't conform to the standard name content template. So what we want to do here is, if we look at the meta tag examples on the Open Graph site, you'll see that the code is meta property and then content. So what we need to do is customize the name portion here to be property, and then we're good to go. So next up, what we want to do is perhaps add a description. So that meta tag is the OG description tag, and we'll add that one as well quickly. And I will just copy this text here as the description. And again, don't forget to update the template below here. So finally, we'll have a look at doing one other, and that is perhaps the image tag. So we'll add another meta tag here and we'll say OG image. And then what we need to do is add a URL to the feature image that we want to be used. So what you need to do is find out the full URL to the image on your page. And one way to do that is to go to Preview and then inspect this image. And here we can see that the source is files/Brighton coffee shop. So what we can do is copy this portion here. And then in edit mode, what we want to do is add in the content is the full URL to this image. So although we've copied the folder path and the file name for the image, we need to add our domain name to the beginning of that. So in our case, it's https://rapidweaverseo.com/files/brightoncoffeeshop.jpg. So that is now the feature image that will be used when our homepage is shared on social media sites. And again, don't forget to update the template here to say property. Okay, and if we go to preview and view the source for this page, we will see in the header area here, we have some new meta tags. So Open Graph title, description and image. And if we go back to Safari and look at that example here, you'll see they have image, title and description. So as I say, when our homepage is shared on Facebook, we will be looking more like this rather than just a standard link. Now obviously you can do this for all the pages across your website. We'll just cover the homepage for Open Graph because we need to move on to Twitter cards. So Twitter cards works in a fairly similar way to the Open Graph protocol. you just need to add some custom meta tags to your web page to provide some more detailed information specifically to Twitter about that web page. So what we'll do is go to the card types here, and then we will just use the summary card. And if we look at the sample code here, you'll see we are, again, as I say, they're fairly similar. We need to add some meta tags specifically for Twitter. So in this case, it's Twitter-card and then the type of the card. And then there is the site. So this will be your Twitter username, and then the title of the page, description, and again, an image. So let's go back to RapidWeaver and add a few of these. And in this example, let's go and do it for the cafe page. So we'll go to edit mode, open the page inspector. On the meta tags tab here, we can add a new meta tag. The first one we need to do is Twitter card. And the content or the type of card that we're doing is a summary card. And in this case, we don't need to modify the template because Twitter are conforming to the standard name and content template for meta tags. But next we need to add the site. So we'll add a new one and we'll say Twitter site. And in my case, it will be @BenCouncil. You'll basically just add your Twitter username here. Next up, we need to add the title. So Twitter title. And again, this is the title that you want to be displayed when this URL is shared on Twitter. So we will say Unbelievable Coffee Shop in Brighton. And then we need to add a description. And what I will do is just copy this example text here. You want to keep this fairly short and concise, so this text is rather long, but you get the idea. And then finally, there is the Twitter image. So again, we'll add another meta tag and we'll say Twitter image. And then we need to add the full URL to an image for our website. So what we could do is use the homepage image that we have here. So what I'll do is just copy that URL and go and paste that into here. So that will use the coffee shop image from the homepage as the feature image for the Twitter card. Okay, and it's as simple as that. If we go to preview and view the source, you'll see again the meta tags have been added here with all the relevant information. So now when the cafe page is shared on Twitter, what you will get is a nice card that looks like this with an image, a title, and a description. Okay, next up is structured data. Now this one is a little bit more complex, but it is very powerful and it allows you to provide detailed information about all the pages on your website to search engines so that they can display the content on that page in a very rich, meaningful way. Now structured data can seem very overwhelming to start with. It uses a lot of the schema.org vocabulary, and this is very, very detailed. There are lots and lots and lots of different types of schemas that you can use. We're not going to go through all of that now. I would encourage you to research structured data and the schema.org website a little further. However, as with the Open Graph, it's going to be easier if I show you some examples of what structured data can do for you in search engine results pages. So if we go here, what I've done is search for a Rancilio Silvia review. Now this is a coffee machine review, quite a common search term. People like to read up about reviews and see how good something is before they purchase it. And if we scroll down here, I'm sure you've seen this already, but often there will be a star rating for the item that you've searched for. Now the reason that this website can provide that is because they have added some structured data information to their HTML. The rest of these pages haven't done that, so they're not getting a star rating badge underneath their URLs. And I'm sure you'll agree again that this looks more professional than just the standard reviews that these two sites have done. So if we go and look at this URL and inspect the HTML, what we can see here is that they've added some meta tags into the page. So these are, as I say, structured data specific meta tags. And for example here, they've got the rating value, the rating count, the worst rating, and the best rating. So this is providing information that they can then display to users in the search results pages. So as you'll see on the results page here, they've added these meta tags, That allows Google to add that star rating to their search results. There's a lot more to structured data than that. However, we don't have time to cover everything in this lesson, but basically anytime you see some rich information on Google, perhaps in the sidebar, often the opening times, the addresses, things like that, that website is probably using structured data to provide that rich information to search engines. And as you saw in the HTML that we just inspected, it can be a little bit complex. However, luckily for us on the Google Search Console, which we added our site to in a previous video, there is a search appearance area here and then a data highlighter page. And what this allows us to do is provide Google with this structured data in a visual way. Now again, the easiest way to show you this is if I just start highlighting one of our pages. So I'm just going to go and get one of our blog page URLs. We go to the blog and let's just do the first post. So I'm going to copy that URL and paste that into here. And what we need to do is choose the type of information to highlight. So as I said, structured data is very, very detailed. It can be complex and confusing. As you can see here, there's a lot of different types of information that you can provide to search engines. However, in this case for our blog, the type of information we're providing is an article. So we'll choose articles and click OK. And now what this allows us to do is go down to our blog post and highlight the sections on our page and tell Google what that is about our page. So highlight the title, for example, and then you just choose title here. And again for the image, you just choose image. So you're telling Google that the images at the top of all of our blog posts is the feature image that we want to use when this information is shown in search engine results pages. And then next, for example, we can choose here is the publish date or the date published. And we'll just let them auto detect that. And we can say here, this is the category. And that's probably about all the information that we're going to provide to Google. I don't think there's anything else. Let's just highlight some text and have a look. So there's title, author. We don't have the author on our blog. The date, image, category we've already done. And the average rating doesn't apply in this case. However, if you were doing reviews, then again you could provide some average ratings to the user like the Rancilio Sylvia review did. So that is all we need to do to provide some structured data information to Google for all of our blog posts, because what they will do is go and find all of these similar pages on our website, so all the other blog posts on our website, and realize that the HTML is the same and be able to understand all of the articles in the same way. So you just highlight your information, select the type of information that it is, and then click the done button. As you can see, Google has already found that there's 4+ pages with similar URLs, and it will be able to automatically go through all of our blog post articles and understand the data that is provided there. So what we'll call this is blog posts and create the page set. And then what Google does will show you all the other pages it thinks is similar to the page that we marked up to allow you to ensure that the information they think is the same is actually the same. So we're basically verifying all of our other blog posts here. So yep, that's the image, that's the title, that's the date published, and that's the category. So we can click next page. And again, image, title, date, and category. So yep, that one's fine as well. And we'll skip that because we know that it's correct. So no further pages, we'll click the OK button. And as you can see here, Google has understood all of these blog posts and been able to provide some very detailed information about these posts when these pages are shown in search engine results. So all we need to do is click the publish button and we're done. So it's as simple as that to provide that rich information to Google so that your blog posts will be understood in a much better manner and also displayed in a rich way on search engine results pages. Now obviously we've only covered blog posts or articles on the structured data. However, as you saw, there's plenty of other categories, so you can provide detailed information about books or movies or reviews, anything basically is available for you to mark up and provide detailed information about. Now, before we wrap up this lesson, what we're going to do is add some social sharing buttons to each one of our web pages. And to do this, we're going to be using addthis.com, and we're going to add some share buttons to each individual blog post. So to do this, I've already signed up for a free account, so I'm going to go to my dashboard, and onto the tools page, we are going to add some sharing buttons here. And I'm going to just leave this as the defaults for now. You can customize which social buttons are displayed and how many of them and stuff like that. However, we'll just activate this and leave it as the defaults. So what we need to do is add this code just before the end body tag on all of our blog posts. So to do that, copy that code, go back to RapidWeaver, and go to edit mode on the blog page, and then in the page inspector, under the header tab or under the HTML code tab, on the body tab here, just paste in this code. But what we'll want to do is, rather than leaving the source as 2//, we will add HTTPS. And this is simply because we want these buttons to be rendered locally on our machine. Without adding the HTTPS, they won't load. So add that in there. And then next, what we need to do is add the code to each one of our individual blog posts. So copy this code and go to the body for all of your posts, scroll down to the bottom and just paste it in. And we can do that for each one quickly. Now, as I said before, depending on the blog platform that you're using, you might be able to do this in a global way. However, for the built-in blog post, you'll need to go and paste in this code into each individual post. So let's preview that and see if our buttons are being displayed. We'll go to one of the posts, scroll to the bottom, and yeah, now we can see that we have the social sharing buttons. And if I preview that in the browser and give it a try, and try sharing the blog post on Twitter, for example, you can see that people can now easily share your blog posts on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and so on. So that is just a quick way to allow people to easily share your pages or your blog posts across social media. And the reason you want to do this is because, as I mentioned in the link building series, you want people to share these posts and your pages across as many social media platforms as possible, so that your website can start building up more and more inbound links, and those are so important for your search engine ranking. So that does it for this lesson. As I mentioned, I would really encourage you to add the open graph, Twitter cards and structured data to all of the pages on your website, and using Add This is a very nice and quick way to add social sharing buttons to any page on your site.